You a bitch here, right? You a fraud on the ground like you was that. Baby, my nigga goofy in the land swerving with me eating gat. Dog real boss makes the car, nigga. You a big pack.
But neither here nor there, you heard? Listen, y'all niggas tell Meek Mill, come fight me. Tell Meek Mill I wanna fight that one-on-one, you heard? And I don't even gotta trip about money and all that. Cause I got more money than that's a you pussy. That's a you pussy. And you security. This is security. That's security, nigga, you pussy. Look, shut up. And you with a cop. You way out. And look, you tight. And you with police. And you with police, nigga. Look, that cop. That nigga cop.
Yo, let's talk about this mess that's blowing up again. 6ix9ine versus Meek Mill. Just when you thought it was dead, 6ix9ine came right back on demon time, throwing gas on an old beef and dragging Meek straight into the middle of the Diddy firestorm. You already know how 6ix9ine get down, petty, loud, and calculated. But this time it's darker. He's not just trolling for clout. He's pointing fingers at Meek like he's got footage, receipts, and secrets that the world ain't ready for. Now let's rewind for a sec. This ain't a new issue. 6ix9ine and Meek been at each other's necks since 2018. When 6ix9ine started catching heat for being the industry's most famous snitch, Meek was one of the first to come out and call it for what it was. He called Tekashi a rat, a clown, a fake tough guy who hid behind feds and cameras. At first, folks rocked with Meek. He had just come home from that unjust bid, was getting love in the streets again. In Tekashi, he was sitting behind bars with rainbow hair and no street credit left. But when 6ix9ine got out and came back with that loud, cocky gubba rollout, he flipped the script. He came at Meek's neck in interviews, on social media, everywhere. He said, "You calling me a rat, but you hanging with snitches. You got billionaire friends who talk to the feds. And you rolling with a full security team while calling yourself street?" 6ix9ine flipped Meek's image upside down, made him look like a fraud instead of a freedom fighter. That tension boiled over in 2021 when the two of them ran into each other outside a club in Atlanta. No punches thrown, but cameras were everywhere. 6ix9ine ran up yelling, "You with the cops, you got all them guards." Meanwhile, Meek stayed back, saying dude was trying to get him locked up. That moment went viral instantly. But the streets? They ain't really side with Meek like they used to. Some folks said, "Why you even there if you ain't about to check him?" Others were like, "You dodged a trap." But one thing was clear, Meek lost cool points. Fast forward to 2024 and things were calm until Diddy's empire started crumbling. Lawsuits, leaks, and people exposing everything from his freak-off parties to deeper criminal stuff. Suddenly, names started getting thrown in that nobody expected. And guess who came up? Meek Mill. See, word started spreading about this alleged wild birthday bash Diddy threw for Meek in Vegas. A $25,000 blowout full of strange guests, no phones, and the kind of energy that makes people nervous. The kind of vibe where you either in deep or you out cold. And then came the bomb. 6ix9ine hit the timeline and basically said, "Y'all remember when Meek called me a rat? But he out here letting Diddy throw him freaky birthday parties and calling him daddy on video?" Yeah, that clip hit different. It showed Diddy and Meek together, looking way too cozy, with Diddy literally saying, "What you want, daddy?" And Meek just smiling, drink in hand. Twitter exploded, memes flew, and suddenly 6ix9ine wasn't the clown anymore. He was exposing folks.
Yeah, y'all already know how we playing out this motherfucker.
Let's
Real
go.
life.
Real life
Yeah,
shit.
nigga, Diddy gang, Meek Mill in real life. Don't ever
Yeah.
disrespect me, you
Talk
heard?
that shit, Meek. Yeah, Meek.
Meek tried to brush it off at first, tweeting like this is all part of a smear campaign and saying he spent $100K on an investigation to clear his name. But guess what? No receipts, no proof, no follow-up. Fans started asking, "You spent that much money and didn't post one screenshot?" And in this era, silence speaks loud. When someone accuses you of something that wild, you either clap back with evidence or people start believing it. And 6ix9ine, he ain't let up. He kept reposting the clip, talking about the freaky empire and how Meek was a part of it the whole time. Y'all heroes ain't clean, he said. They just hide better. He even mocked Meek for being on that social justice wave while moving with billionaires behind the scenes. And with Diddy being the main villain right now, Tekashi knew what he was doing. He weaponized the narrative. And the fans, they ate it up.
What? Yo, wait a minute. Wait, ha!
You didn't hear this?
No!
All the champagne was spiked, son. Like, all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the out. I don't drink, so I was playing that off like I don't drink. I smoke. Like, I smoke and I had my own weed, but like everybody was passed out. Yo, Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against ass cheeks. I heard struggling to take. I heard being like, yeah, daddy. Like when he started all that daddy this and daddy that, and then I heard some hollering and struggling. Like, yeah, I kept the phone there and I recorded all this.
Let's keep it rolling, because 6ix9ine ain't letting this Meek situation slide. He came back with even more dirt, digging through old tweets, club footage, and videos that most folks forgot about. And when that Diddy freak-off talk started spreading like wildfire, 6ix9ine didn't just sit back, he leaned in hard. This man was making it his personal mission to remind the internet that Meek might have been talking all that gangsta talk, but behind the scenes, he was getting cozy in rooms where cameras got turned off and NDAs got handed out. Let's break down that Vegas party again. This wasn't just some industry birthday bash. According to multiple whispers, this was one of them invite only, lose your phone at the door type of nights. The kind of vibe that's been getting exposed ever since the lawsuits hit Diddy like a wrecking ball. People claim this party had everything: celebs, escorts, cameras, drugs, and some real twisted energy. It was supposed to be a celebration for Meek's big day. But now, folks wondering what he really got gifted that night and what kind of footage Diddy's people might be sitting on. That's where the paranoia kicks in. See, Meek ain't responding with bars. He ain't dropped no freestyle, no diss, just cryptic tweets. And that's not the Meek we know. This man used to go at Drake, Whale, even Nicki on record. But when it comes to Tekashi exposing these wild party stories, Meek turned motivational speaker. Talking about people trying to tear down black men, talking about spiritual warfare. And look, we get it, you want to protect your peace. But if someone's saying you out here letting billionaires violate boundaries, you got to clear that up, fast. And speaking of Nicki, Lil Raj's lawsuit dropped a little detail that made everybody look sideways. There's a part where he talks about a Philly rapper who used to date a famous female MC. That's not hard math. It don't take a genius to know that sounds like Meek. The lawsuit don't drop names, but it paints a picture. If Lil Rod's claims are even half true, then Meek was right there in them rooms, watching how Diddy moved, maybe even participating. That's why 6ix9ine keeps circling back to it. He knows the streets read between the lines. Now let's not act like 6ix9ine ain't messy himself. He been caught lying, snitching, and straight up trolling for clout. But even a broken clock right twice a day. And this time, he might have hit a nerve. He ain't saying Meek was doing what Diddy allegedly did, but what he is saying is, you was there, you benefited, you kept quiet. That's enough to get the internet dragging you, especially in 2025 when fans don't forget nothing. The meme's been ruthless. You got clips of Meek dancing with Diddy side by side with horror movie soundtracks. Folks making TikToks with captions like, when the party go from bottles to blackmail. And every time Meek tries to post something positive, like a quote or a pic of him in the studio, 6ix9ine drops another jab. It's relentless. And with Diddy still going through it legally, every new headline brings Meek's name back into the conversation. What's worse is that Meek's own fan base feels divided. Some people say, nah, this is just 6ix9ine stirring the pot again. Others say, if Meek wasn't involved, why so quiet? Why so defensive? And you know what's wild? 6ix9ine knew this would happen. He studied the timeline, saw the Cassie tape leak, saw the lawsuits, and then timed his comeback perfectly. He ain't drop a song, he dropped accusations. And in the internet era, that hits way harder. Another thing folks bringing up, Meek used to go heavy on accountability, always talking about real ones, street codes, principles. But now he acting like the rules changed. He ain't addressing the clips, he ain't saying where the footage came from. And he damn sure ain't explaining why he let Diddy call him daddy in public and laugh like it was regular. In a world where every word gets screenshotted and reposted, that kind of silence turns into evidence. Now fans are saying, yo Meek, where that energy from the Dream Chasers days? Where the fire at? You gonna let 6ix9ine write the narrative? And right now, that's exactly what's happening. 6ix9ine ain't got the music, he ain't got the charts, but he got the timeline in a chokehold. And until Meek answers with something real, not another tweet, but something solid, Tekashi gonna keep pushing the narrative like he holding the truth in his back pocket.
That's a fact, you pussy. That's a fact, you pussy. Hey, you security. This is security. That's security, nigga, you pussy. Look, shut up. Shut up. And you with a cop. You out. And look, you take. And you with police. And you with police, nigga. Look, that cop. That cop.
Now here's where the story really flips. Because what started as a social media roast between 6ix9ine and Meek, it's turning into a reputation war, and Meek might not be winning it. See, 6ix9ine knows exactly what strings to pull. He don't need to prove anything in court. He just got to plant the right doubt, drop the right video, and let Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube do the rest. He's mastered this chaos thing. And now that Diddy's name been dragged through the mud, Tekashi is turning that mud into ammo, spraying everybody who ever threw shade at him. And Meek's the main target. The part that's killing Meek the most, he was supposed to be the moral compass. After he beat that bogus jail sentence, he became the face of reform. Prison reform campaigns, talking with Jay-Z, even sitting courtside with billionaires. He had the narrative of a street dude who evolved. But now all that progress is being used against him. 6ix9ine flipped the image, made it look like Meek didn't evolve, he just switched teams. He's out here saying Meek ain't street, he industry. And worse, he's saying he's compromised. It's genius in a grimy way. Every time Meek posts something inspirational, 6ix9ine will pull up with a meme of Meek in the club with Diddy. If Meek drops a freestyle, Tekashi posts that daddy clip with a laughing emoji. It's like every time Meek tries to rebuild, 6ix9ine reminds people of the footage, the freaky birthday stories, the silence during the scandals. And Meek, he's acting like he above it yet, but in this game, silence feels like a quiet admission. Let's not forget, this ain't the first time Meek been hit with narrative problems. His beef with Drake back in 2015 was supposed to be the one that took Drizzy down. Meek had the ammo, he exposed the ghostwriting stuff, but then he fumbled. No follow-up, no punchlines, just tweets. Sound familiar? That same passive energy we saw back then, we seeing it again now. And this time, the guy throwing punches ain't a soft-spoken lyricist like Drake. It's a professional troll with no filter. And the street's watching. You got fans saying, all right, fine, yo, if Meek don't respond soon, 6ix9ine gonna run off with the whole narrative. The idea that Meek is just another puppet in the industry freak show is starting to stick. The same Meek who used to talk loyalty, codes, and street morals is now being painted as a dude who sat in rooms where morals didn't exist. Tekashi's not trying to fight him on music, he's fighting him on image. And in 2025, that hits way harder. Let's talk about timing too. 6ix9ine dropped all this dirt at the peak of the Diddy fallout, right when people were already skeptical about the industry, questioning who knew what. So when Meek's name came up in that party chatter, folks didn't even question it. They just believed it. Why? 'Cause Meek ain't been transparent. You can't move like an activist 1 minute and a ghost the next. People don't trust flip-floppers. And in this case, Meek left way too much open for folks to fill in the blanks. And look, people not even saying Meek did anything criminal. What they are saying is, He was around it, and now he looked like he benefited from it. Diddy's empire was built on connections, leverage, and silence. And if you were close enough to him when that silence was protecting predators, then you got questions to answer, even if you ain't guilty. That's the reality of this new age. Meanwhile, Tekashi is surfing this wave like a pro. He's not even trying to drop new music. He don't need to. The internet is his mixtape. He's releasing narratives, not albums. And somehow that's working. Every day he throws a new jab, the blogs pick it up, the clips go viral, and Meek's silence grows louder. People are now asking, did Meek sign up for that lifestyle? Or did he just stay quiet too long? Either way, the trust is fading. And with other names getting dragged into this Diddy mess, Stevie J, Ray J, French Montana, Meek ain't alone in this heat. But the difference is, they ain't the ones who went online preaching street code and justice. Meek made himself the symbol of realness. So now the internet is watching like, be real now. Because when you hold yourself up as the standard, you better live up to it when the pressure comes. Now let's close this out. Because at this point, what we're seeing ain't just a beef between two rappers. It's a full-on exposure war, and Meek Mill is on the ropes while 6ix9ine just keeps swinging. And the wildest part? Meek ain't saying nothing that hits, just vague tweets, random interviews where he dodges questions, and trust God type energy. Respect to that. But when you being painted as part of Diddy's freaky empire, silence ain't protecting your legacy, it's erasing it. Let's be real, Meek had the perfect setup. He was already respected. He had the prison reform story, the street cred, the Jay-Z cosign. But now, every time his name trends, it ain't because of music. It's because of that party footage, that daddy clip, and the whispers about what happened behind closed doors. And Tekashi, he's in control of that conversation. He don't need to drop a diss track. He already dropped enough footage to damage Meek's whole rep. The internet don't need hard proof anymore. They just need a clip and a caption and boom, you're a headline. That's what Tekashi understands better than Meek. This ain't the battle rap days anymore. This is social media combat. If you don't respond fast, you lose by default. Meek's moving like it's 2012. But the game's different now. Reputation moves quicker than music. And 6ix9ine's playing chess while Meek's still stuck on checkers. Look around. This new generation grew up on memes, not mixtapes. If they see a clip of Diddy calling Meek daddy and Meek grinning like it's normal, they not going to Rap Genius to get context. They not pulling up Dream Chasers 2 to remember the bars. They going straight to TikTok saying, yeah, he cooked. And whether it's fair or not, that's the reality. This ain't about guilt, it's about optics. And Meek's optics right now, foggy. Let's not act like Meek can't fight back. He's still got bars, still got a loyal core fan base. But they wait, they want answers. They want Meek to say something real, not some motivational IG post about the universe aligning. You got 6ix9ine out here saying you a part of a cover-up, that you were living foul at freaky billionaire parties, and your only response is, don't believe the internet. Nah, bro, that don't work no more. You either drop a track, show some proof, or admit you got caught slipping. And the crazy thing is, 6ix9ine don't even have to prove anything. That's the beauty of how he operates. He plants the doubt and watches the timeline spiral. Meek gave him space to do that by not clapping back. Every minute Meek stays silent, 6ix9ine gets louder without even trying. He posts a clip, adds a laughing emoji, and lets the algorithm do the dirty work. Meanwhile, Meek posting studio selfies like he don't see what's happening. But the comments ain't talking about new music, they talking about what went down in Vegas. And now we at the point where Meek's whole image is under review. Not by the courts, but by the people, by the culture. Because when you build your brand on being real, on being the voice for the voiceless, then disappear when it's time to speak, that's a problem. People wanted Meek to check 6ix9ine, not block him. They wanted a freestyle, a response, something. But right now, all they got is silence. And in this climate, silence sounds guilty. Even the industry folks are quiet. No big names coming to defend Meek. No public "leave my guy alone" from Jay, Ross, or anybody. That's a red flag too, because when the Diddy lawsuits dropped, a lot of people distanced themselves real quick. And Meek, he looked like he might get caught in that same wave. If he don't speak up soon, he gonna be grouped in with the folks people believe were in the room, knowing what was going down and saying nothing. So what's next? If Meek want his respect back, he gotta come clean or come hard, drop a real track, name names, tell his side, reclaim the narrative. Cause if he don't, Tekashi gonna keep poking, keep posting, and eventually the culture gonna move on without him. It's not just about winning the beef, it's about protecting your legacy. And if he lets 6ix9ine rewrite it for him, then all that dream chasers talk, all that real one energy, it gets erased. And what's left? A dude who got caught up in the wrong party, stayed too quiet, and lost the mic without even rapping.